Now, some have said that you really can't affirm just one or two or three of those doctrines when referring to the 5 points, but they really all go together. If you're going to affirm them, you affirm them all. Would you agree with that?
Well, I would just say as soon as you affirm that God is sovereign in everything and everything is by grace, that's where you have to go. Otherwise, you're saying that God is not sovereign in some of those elements.
You start with the acrostic tool of the T for total depravity, which really translates to the moral inability concept of Augustine. If you understand T and embrace T, there's no way off that train. You can't deny any of the other 5. I used to teach at college, and I would labor the T with the students in the class, and when I was done with the T, I would say, how many of you affirm this? And I had 30 kids in the class, and they all raised their hands. And so on the left-hand side of the blackboard, I wrote the number 30, and then I underlined it and asked to the janitor, please do not erase. And so we went to U, unconditional election. And it was like we started with 30 little Indians, and it was 29, 28, 27 little Indians. So, the further we went down and saw the implications of total moral inability, the more they had to retract their initial affirmation. Now, I hear people tell me all the time they're 4-point Calvinists, and I say, well, we call those Arminians.
Now it's just demonstrated.
Although I have to say that I've had many conversations with people who identify themselves as 4-point Calvinists, and the one in which they demur, of course, is definite atonement, or particular redemption, or what we call limited atonement, which, of course, is the easiest one, I think, to affirm. But every time I hear somebody say that, I make the assumption that if they really believe the other 4, they just don't understand this doctrine. And so let's take some time to unpack it. And if I ask them what they really believe about God's intent in the cross, did God intend from all eternity to save every person in the world? And I mean, it's rare that a person will say to me, well, no, they don't believe that. He knew from all eternity that not everybody was going to be saved, and he didn't sovereignly decree that all would be saved. If he did, everybody would be saved. And so, did Jesus fail on the cross to fulfill the task that the Father had given? Well, no, we wouldn't want to say that. Well, I said, well, then how can you? They just didn't understand the doctrine. Once they saw the implications of it, then they said, oh, I guess I really am a 5-point. But again, to be a Calvinist, as Al's already said, it's not a matter of arithmetic. Adding 1 to 5. I wrote a book called Grace Unknown, really as something to help our elders and lay people to understand the essence of Reformed theology. And I labored the point that the 5 points are 5 points of historic controversy, but if you embrace every one of the 5 points, you still don't have the Reformed faith, because Reformed theology embraces Catholic doctrines as well as those 5 points, and even justification by faith alone is not in the 5 points. So there's a lot more to Reformed theology than those 5 particular distinctives.